Hi, and welcome to UFOVIDMAG.com, sponsored by BGK.com, also association with www.mufon.com. There is a Northwest UFO conference coming up on May 25th through the 28th in Seattle, Washington. You can respond to tickets at 206-329-1744 or 94. My name is Jeffrey Karvanek. Future episodes, I would like to discuss the latest UFO sightings through the continental United States and around the world. I would like to start out with an introduction. I've been involved in UFO research and following up UFO case files for approximately about 8 years now. I've collected a mass video collection of UFO archives dating back from Project Blue Book all the way to the Kecksburg UFO crash 1956. We're going to start probably with the latest UFO sightings, which was in, let's see, the video here says Henderson, the Hudson River in 1/15/2000, and there's also a new sighting that happened recently in Shiloh, over Shiloh, Illinois, that was filmed, and I have a video clip that I'll later install so you can view it. You can find this video on my website. I recommend anybody who is interested in UFO or the propulsion of UFOs, feel free to check out our website. Let me know what you think. I would also like a request, if anybody would like to send any sighting reports or any photos or videotape of UFO sightings, we are more than gladly to accept it. I would proof through it and see what I think of it, and if I think it's acceptable, it's not a hoax, it'll be installed on the website. I'd like to start out, special thanks to Tom Dongo from Contact Light for sending me some photos, a paranormal investigation that he's done over the past 4 to 7 years in Sedona, Arizona on the Vortex. I would also like a special thanks to go out to the Fund for UFO Research in Mount Rainier, Maryland, to Don Berlinger. Also another special thanks to Black Vault with John Greenwald at www.blackvault.com. You can go there, and he has a whole selection of UFO files you can sort through. He's got over 80,000 UFO-related files. I'd like to start by going over a book. Book report for this month will be Alien Contact by Timothy Good. It has a lot of valuable information in it. I learned about a tracking system of ASC, which is an acronym for Alternate Space Craft. The platform is in North America. It's an Aerospace Defense Command by NORAD. It's an installation in the Gulf of Mexico. It's a satellite tracking station of alternative spacecraft. NORAD keeps regular track of alternative spacecraft coming into our airspace over the continental United States and the world. We're talking about space tracking of the SPADATS and Naval Intelligence Satellites, NavSparser, NAVSPASUR, a number of documents relating to UFO intrusions over SAC, which is Strategic Air Command in the United States and Canada in 1975. There's also a NUTR document that states 7,000 trackings of unidentified objects since 1971 in a 19-year time frame. Hi, and welcome back to UFOVidMag.com. I'm your host, Jeffrey Karvanek. Today we're going to discuss the Millstadt Police Department's report off of their website, MillstatPD, www.com. Okay, Millstadt Police Department on January 5th, 2000 at approximately 4:28 a.m. One officer, Craig A. Stevens, was on patrol in a village of Millstadt. I was monitored radio traffic when I heard a report via the CENTCOM that the Highland Police Department had report of a large flying object in the air. CENTCOM dispatched Lebanon PD to respond. I heard Lebanon State the guy 10:55 later, I heard Lebanon state that he observed the object, that it headed in the direction of Shiloh, and to have Shiloh PD be on the lookout for it. I then heard that Shiloh had reported the object. I drove to the east end of town to see if I could observe the object. When I drove to the north end of town, in Libernut Park parking lot, while I was sitting there, I observed a very large flying object coming from a southwards direction. The object was flying very low, from 500 to 1,000 feet, and was flying very slowly. The object was making no noise at all. I could only hear a very long, low, decisive buzzing sound. Then the object began banking to the northeast direction and continued to cruise away from me towards the area of Dupo. I contacted dispatch and advised them that I had spotted the object. I exited the patrol car and took the Polaroid camera from the trunk and attempted to take a picture. The camera was very cold. The temp was only approximately 18 to 20 degrees outside. The picture did not seem to exit the camera properly. I heard Dupo PD advise CENTCOM that they quite possibly observed an object, but it was at a very high altitude. You can also find more on this video on our website at a later date. I'd also like to discuss FOIA, which is Freedom of Information. It's a request that you send the government for information. You could send it to the CIA, the NSA, the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, or National Security Agency, Air Force, Army, anybody you want to send details to. This request is for a complete search of the filing systems and locations of all records held by your agency relating to. Then you insert the details of the desired records and a description in detail the events for which you seek the information. Include in all documentation, including captions that include references to flying saucers or UFOs or extraterrestrial spacecraft, or ASC, alternative spacecraft. Ask your local government representative to assist you in this. I also request see references to these names. If the documents are denied in part or whole, please specify which exemptions are claimed for each passage or whole document denied. Please provide a complete itemized inventory and detailed factual justification of any denial. Specify the number of pages in each document you wish to request copies of. For classified materials denied, please include the following information: the classification rating, the confidential secret, top secret, or secret, top secret, cosmic top secret, which the government does not want you to know about. I request the censored material be blacked out rather than whited out or cut out. I accept the remaining non-exempt portions of the documents will be released. Please send a memo to the appropriate units in your office or agency to assure that no records related to this request are destroyed, and please send a copy of the memo to me. Please advise of any destruction of records and include the date and authority for such destruction. As I expect to appeal against a denial, please specify the office and address to which I should send the appeal. I believe that my request qualifies for a waiver of fees, as the release of information would benefit the general public and be in the public's best interest. I can be reached by telephone. You list your telephone number, you list your mailing address, and if there's any questions or if you need any additional information, they can contact you. And then at the bottom of the letterhead, you want to write, I expect a response within 10 working days as provided for the Freedom of Information Act. Sincerely, Jeffrey Karvanek. Alright. Another thing you want to add on your FOIA Freedom of Information Act is a date. Not just your telephone number and your address, but a date. So they have a date to go by as far as returning your documents to you within 10 days. If they don't have a date, they don't know what 10 days is. What date? Okay, I'd like to go on next to Kuala Lumpur. A national UFO sighting in U.S. and Geoping. Kuala Lumpur, Sunday. This is from January 24th, 2001. Okay, 8 unidentified flying objects were reportedly spotted in the U.S. near here and Geoping, Perak. A woman who identified herself as Dahlia called New Straits Times at 10:40 tonight to say she saw 6 UFOs, orange in color, in the sky over Geoping. I am seeing them now. So are a lot of other people. It's causing a stir. Please check with the Ipoh airport and tell me what they are, she said. Her husband, Imal Bidin, who is an honorary secretary of Orphan in Shanghai Itek Gopeng, said he was among the first to see the UFOs. All of the orphans who saw the objects, so did their religious teachers and the villagers from the neighboring Kampung Pitu Padnag. He said the UFOs appeared to be in a formation and then formed a straight line. The objects were seen for about 10 minutes before they disappeared. A policeman at Geoping police station, when contacted about 20 minutes later, said he did not receive any information about the sightings. A spokesman for Kuala Lumpur International Airport at Sepang said no such object were tracked. This morning, a housewife from U.S. called the NST office to say she and her son saw 2 UFOs, red in color, moving toward Kopong on Roang at 10 last night. That's that for the news. Now, with the latest in the crash histories of UFOs. On 1/20 of 96, in Virginia, Brazil, 2 creatures captured by the ESA military special forces group operating within the Brazilian military special operations. On 9/28 of 1989, UFOs shot down over Long Island, New York. Could be possibly related to the crash of Flight 800 TWA. This has not been confirmed, but there is a possibility that the U.S. government could be involved in a cover-up. I'm going to do more on this at a later date. I'm currently investigating this as far as being part of the New Haven or Brookhaven National Laboratories laser experiment. At the same time as supposedly they were testing this new Thor Laser 2 cannon, a plane came into the flight path of the laser. And if this so happens, we shot down TWA Flight 800. It wasn't a terrorist. Our own government could have done this. So somebody needs to look into this and really find out the facts. It was shot down over Long Island, New York. On 5/7 of 1989, a UFO was shot down over South Africa. It's rumored to believe that our president at the time offered to trade nuclear weapons for the recovery of the wreckage of this craft to the South African government. At the time, our president was Mr. Ronald Reagan. Okay. Another UFO crash I would like to cover is crash 9/11, 1/29/1986. UFO crash near Dalmagorsk, USSR. 12/9 of 65, UFO crash, Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, where government took over, a recovery team known as MJ-12 possibly took over these people's house and ranch to confiscate all the material at a local fire department from the wreckage, put it onto a military flatbed truck, and haul it off. There will be more video at a later date on this incident as well. There's a UFO crash 5/20 of 53, Kingman, Arizona. There's also another one in 6/1952 in Spittenberg, Norway. Another one at 12/6/1950, UFO Laredo, Texas. Another one, 11/1994, UFO crash in Mexico. Another one following 3/25/1948, Aztec, New Mexico. Another one, of course, the all-famous Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Then there's the Vladivostok height 611 UFO crash in Russia from 1986. Also, another one, 1995, August 27th, over Sandia, Colorado. Another one in Phoenix, Arizona, on March 4th of 1997. A strange object, large, approximately 3-4 football fields in length, giant pyramid-type shaped object, flew over Phoenix, Arizona. 2 fighters were dispatched out of the local Air Force base, scrambled to investigate, and then the thing shot off to the west and disappeared. Another one on February 19th, 1997, St. Petersburg, Russia. Same type object, boomerang in shape UFO. Okay, according to our crash history, the first UFO we shot down was over Moriches Bay, September 28th, 1989. Another one, the second UFO that we shot down was November 24th, 1992, Haven Park, New York. The recovery team responded, cleaned up the crash wreckage, and jetted out on their little journey, wherever they go. The men in black, they disappear. We don't know. I think they're all government. The third was in South Africa. 2 F-11G on May 7th, 1989, shot down a UFO that crashed in a Kalahari desert. This is one of the latest ones that we are responsible for. We were loaning a laser that was on loan to the South African government as a test project. They mounted this laser cannon. It was a Thor 2 laser cannon under the front underside of the jet. The jets responded, scrambled out of their Air Force base to the UFO. It was on radar. They fired on it. They downed it. Now our government has it. Our government currently has 9 UFOs, mainly stashed at S4, known as Area 51. Our government can't lie. They aren't going to get away with lying even if they do. Who's going to believe them? Hi, and welcome back to UFOVIDMAG.com. I'm your host, Jeffrey Karvanek. Okay, we're going to talk about some government projects right now in the works. There are 46 gravity control projects. 33 are the Air Force's, 6 other agencies are involved. My guess is the NSA, the CIA, and the DIA, which is Department of Defense Intelligence, the National Security Agency, and the Central Intelligence Agency. Now, these are some of the known corporations that are associated to these projects. First is Bell Aerospace. The second would be General Electric. The third is Hughes Aircraft, Boeing Aerospace, McDonnell Douglas. 65 and 70 projects by Dr. Herman Oberth. Flight Dynamics and General Physics Research, 2 Air Force Laboratories, Artificial Gravity at Huntsville, Alabama, Dr. Walter Domberger, President of Bell Aerospace, William P. Lear, Sr., Grover Loring, Consultant to the Air Force, 1964, a round metallic craft about 125 feet in diameter, landed near Stratton, Virginia. Lawrence Cook took Geiger counter readings. They were hot. In Puerto Rico, December 26, 1964. Ramsey Air Force Base, radar, 2 large metallic discs. March 21st, 1965. 2 NASA engineers sighted a UFO near Hampton, Virginia. Major John Nadely and A.G. Grimmins. Dempsey Burton, a NASA, Wallops Island, Virginia, on January 5th, 1965, saw a strange metallic disc. Now back to Area 51 and our favorite subject, S4, the government's top secret military installation for back engineering UFOs, which are unidentified flying objects. Hidden in hangars built to the base at Papoose Mountain Range, with doors at 60-degree angles, covered with a textured paint that looks like sand. It is radar resistant. Element 115 is orange and extremely heavy. Its melting point is at 1,740 degrees Celsius. The discs used are are 223 grams of element 115, the sport model which Robert Lazar worked on in 1989 when he came out undercover from S4. He was hired by Mike Thigpen of the NSA. His boss at the time was, what's his name? Well, we'll get back to the boss's name. Onward. Element 115. The sports model lower compartment contained 3 gravity amplifiers or generators. These can be focused independently or in an omnicron or delta configuration. On the amplifiers are pulsed warping time. So let's say you have, like Bob Lazar explained it, you got a table, you got a flat rubber sheet. Take a golf ball, put it in the center or a nickel or whatever. Pull back one end of the sheet. The object will pull itself to the other object. So basically the propulsion of a UFO is based on warping the time-space continuum around the craft itself. It is manipulating, it's not artificial gravity, but it's manipulating the warping time, space in the following space as it retracts, including the invisibility of the craft. In March 22nd, 1989, the test flight of a light came from the test site, came very low over the object, jumped a long way to the right, the disc flew around, returned to the mountains. The sighting lasted 7 minutes. On March 29th, Bob Lazar took Mr. Lear and a couple of his associates to another sighting. Looking to the south, it came up very slowly, like a step, moved, sit in one place for a while, dropped, it glowed, it came up hovering, glowed brighter, and then brighter, went back above the mountain range, hovered a while, and went down slowly. The Edgerton, Germanhausen, and Greer building at McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada, is where people who work for Area 51 load up on Janet planes daily. They are unmarked, regulated DC-10 planes. They fly out of McCarran International, out of the Edgerton, Germanhausen facility, where Bob Lazar was interviewed for the job at S4. His background was Pierce Junior College, California, Caltech, California State, University at Northridge, Caltech, mastered in physics, hydrodynamics from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is MIT. The electronics from Caltech, then Los Alamos Laboratories was hired. But to current date, the only records they can track down to Bob Lazar as far as being at Los Alamos National Laboratories are the phone number in the phone directory. Also, I would like to bring to your attention Mr. Bob Lazar's W-2 statement out of a book written by Timothy Good. This proves that in 1989, Bob Lazar worked for naval intelligence of the U.S. government. Therefore, the Navy is in this up to their shenanigans. I can prove, therefore, his controversial background. Not only with evidence in this book, Alien Contact by Timothy Good, the author of Above Top Secret, and in a later date, we'll give you a book report on his book, Above Top Secret. My closing statements. Are we to believe that our government does not believe in extraterrestrial vehicles? Are we to believe that our government is not hiding extraterrestrial spacecraft for foreign technologies, that they are not back engineering UFOs as I speak now? They are not tearing apart UFOs or have some that may work and some that don't. According to my beliefs and my research, over 7 years of doing this and probing into the government's should not have files. They're trying to cover up several things. They've always been covering up stuff. They've been covering up stuff since Roswell, New Mexico. And I have proof to the Roswell crash, as well as many others. But back to Area 51. They're lying. Our government is using that facility and are also using Pine Gap in the northwestern tip of Australia, known as Alice Springs. It is a relay station for delicate satellite transmissions that have been decoded, shipped to California, to a building in California at Naval Intelligence. Naval Intelligence then sends it to Area 51, and then they decode it and send it on to other military branches or the U.S. government. Now, my belief is that our government has been doing this for some time. They've been capturing craft. There is a group known as Majestic 12. There has been a Majestic 12 project in the works for years. They're trying to disinform us, keep us in the dark. The public has a right to know. We are the public. We put them people into office where they're at now. Without us, there would be no government. I vote. Everybody else out there votes. And I think our vote should count to something. We should be held, the government should be held accountable for every retrieval of any crashed UFO in their records since 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. They have not. There has not even been a trickle of information released as far as freedom of information on any UFO recovery projects. There's also another project that comes to mind that really interests me. In 1980, over Dayton, Texas, the Cash Landrum incident, where the 20 helicopters escorted some kind of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. It stopped, it hovered over a car that the Landrums were in, and now they have radiation poisoning. And there is no answer to what's happened. The government knew something about it. The project was named Project Snowbird. I recommend to anybody out there that requests information on Project Snowbird and also Project Senior Citizen, which is also known as the Aurora Project, which does not exist supposedly. But I have believed that they have taken the technology from flying saucers and incorporated it into craft now that our U.S. military is building currently. That means that a jet fighter could turn completely invisible to the naked eye. You could be looking at it, it would be like the Philadelphia experiment back in the 40s, where they cloaked a ship with 3 nuclear generators on board. They turned it on, the ship disappeared. It was enveloped in a electromagnetic envelope, and it seemed to disappear right in front of everybody's eyes, in front of generals, chief of staff, president, vice president, everybody. Anybody who was anybody in the military was there. CIA, NSA, Department of Intelligence, Defense. My belief is that our government's been working on these projects for a long time. Several people within our government knew about these projects and have either been murdered or been threatened not to talk. Now, nobody's threatening me not to talk. I have such a thing in my Constitution known as freedom of speech. It's in the Constitution. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let the government tell me not to talk. Thank you.